I just wanted to come on today and post a little video on how you can train your dog or even your cat. You can train your cat, and I'll kind of explain that a bit, but train them using or considering their soul and who they are, their personality, I really believe in training and looking after your pets, considering their body, their mind, and their soul. So a lot of trainers and other people in the pet care industry look more at just kind of the physical, what they can see, and not what's really going on inside your pet, not thinking of them as a being with feelings and having a soul, and just really understanding the whole dog or cat holistically, which is what I want to talk about today. So when we consider our pets holistically in training and modifying their behavior, either when they're puppies or kittens or when they're older, and you may have some behaviors that come out that you want to change, or you adopt an older dog or an older cat. It doesn't matter what age they are, what stage, or what the problem is. You can always look at the problem through, I like to look through like my trainer's eyes and then my kind of spiritual and intuitive eyes. So I'm trained in positive reinforcement training, which is kind of the modern day training that uses positive reinforcement instead of punishment. So they use rewards, which is, if you go to most trainers nowadays, they're going to be very reward based. If you do go to a trainer that isn't reward based, I would stay away, and definitely look for trainers that use a lot of treats and toys and really encourage rewarding, and not, even nowadays there's a lot of like the choke collars and things like that. I want to avoid all of that and anything that can hurt or punish or even manipulate behavior without kind of helping the animal understand why this behavior needs to change and why what they're doing isn't something that we like. So with positive reinforcement training, we're more teaching them how to understand and change the behavior internally instead of just externally, with a lot of when you use punishment or techniques that teach the dog or the cat not to do something because something hurts or because something bad will happen, they often just then do the behavior that you don't want them to do when you're not around. So for example, the spraying a cat with a water bottle, yeah, that works to keep them off the counter, and they won't go on the counter when you're around, but when you're not home, they're on that counter because they've learned that it's you that is causing the displeasure or the uncomfortableness when they're on the counter. So they've learned that you and the water spray and the counter is not good, but when you're not there, the counter is fine. So positive reinforcement training is all harm-free. It's encouraging behaviors that we want. So for example, in a puppy, when we want to teach the puppy to sit, we would when they naturally sit, give them a treat or reward. And when you have a puppy and you're doing positive reinforcement training, you kind of have a pocket or a bag of treats around wherever you go. And anytime your dog does something you like, if they're quiet when someone comes to the door, you give them a reward. And you don't really label things at first until later on. But this is it can get really complicated when you start really thinking about training. But basically, what you need to know is positive reinforcement training is rewarding behaviors that you want and ignoring behaviors that you really dislike. Now, when you have behaviors that are like one dog that I'm working with right now, she barks all the time at cars. And this came out of nowhere. She's still under 1 year old. So the first walks and everything, cars just ignored, nothing. And then just one day out of the blue, a car drives by and she goes nuts, barking, barking, barking. This kind of behavior you can't ignore, because if you let it go on, then it can become worse. So you have to kind of distract, but you're not punishing, you're distracting. So for the most part, if it's not like a serious behavior or a behavior that can really harm walks or an activity that you like to do, if it can become habit forming, you need to distract. So you're either rewarding the behavior that you want your animal to do by giving them a treat, a scratch on the head, giving them any sort of attention at all, anything that they love, playing a game with them. It doesn't always have to be food, but you're giving them a reward. Even just looking at them and saying, good girl, good boy, or a quick little pat is a reward if that's something that they enjoy. And what animal doesn't really enjoy that? So rewarding behaviors that you like and want to see more of, ignoring or distracting them away from behaviors that you dislike and don't want to see. Because the cats not so much, but when it comes to dogs, when you say they're barking at I don't know, the neighbor outside, and they see them through the window, or they just hear them moving about, and they start barking because they think there's an intruder in the house. If you go to them and go, shh, no, quiet, 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 or even just say, stop, it's okay, just acknowledging that you hear them, that can sometimes be rewarding because they're getting your attention. They're thinking, oh, okay, so I bark, I hear something, I bark, and then she gets kind of riled up. They almost think you're barking back or barking with them, or that there's something to be concerned of. But if they start barking and they hear the neighbor, they start barking, and you just kind of ignore or turn away, they're looking for your reaction. If you don't give them a reaction, they'll probably stop barking. This doesn't always work, and you kind of have to do this right in the beginning of it starting to happen, and to train them out of that will be a little bit of work. But for a puppy, for example, this would be perfect. Some dogs will, once they don't get your reaction, they're not going to continue that behavior at all, unless it's become a habit. But then that's when you get and start doing work. So that's just kind of basic training, what I want you to know about positive reinforcement training. So if you go to most trainers, any trainer, that's kind of what they're going to do. But what I'm going to talk about today is incorporating, considering their soul. So using your intuition and really considering the animal as a being with feelings and having a soul, basically. So when I say soul, I'm thinking like feelings and thoughts and connecting to you, like when your soul connects to the animal soul, which is something I think us in this group, we all kind of feel that we have had at one point, or we have right now, or something that we want to have, is that deep soul bond, that connection. That's what we need to consider when we're training. So again, looking at their soul is really thinking about why they are doing this. Instead of just trying to stop it, it's understanding why they are doing the behavior, instead of just thinking, I don't like this behavior, I want it to stop, how can I stop it? We're going and looking deeper into it and thinking, why are they doing this? Why are they acting like this? So looking more holistically, looking at the big picture, every part of it, to really get down deep into the root and the cause of this behavior, or this, because training really is all just modifying behavior, trying to teach them what to do, what you think is appropriate and what isn't. But teaching them, when you consider their soul, is teaching them with reason, with purpose, or at least you understanding the reason and the purpose, which will help you convey the message to your pet, what you want them to do, when you understand yourself why your pet is acting in this way, and how you can help them to understand why they need to change their behavior or do something different. So this really helps when we're looking at really problem behaviors like aggression or anxiety, or even separation anxiety or anxiety with other animals. Aggression, anxiety, stress, those are the big ones. And when we look at it from this point of the why are they anxious, why are they stressed, why are they aggressive, we can really get down deep and not just kind of like have a band-aid and cover it up. We get down deep and really really help them. They are a soul and they're struggling like this. You think it's hard for you, imagine them, what they're going through, right? No one wants to be aggressive or anxious all the time. Like, they're going through something themselves. So we're really creating like long lasting results. So the tools that we are going to use, or the tools that I use when I kind of uncover this why and how to solve it, instead of just the rewards and the ignoring and the distracting, I use things like meditation, crystals, massage, Reiki, looking at the chakras and doing energy healing that way, your pet chakras, looking at that, changing our own perspectives as the owner, as the person in our, I don't like to say owner, I don't feel like I'm an owner of my pets, but for lack of a better word, the owner, the caretaker, the guardian, whatever you want to say, of your pet, looking at the issues inside of you and how that's reflecting back onto your pet, your dog or your cat. Often it's all energy, right? I really believe in the energy that we put out is what we see in our environment. Our internal energy, what we think and what we feel, manifests into our reality. So the energy, it's the same with our pets. The energy that we have, if we are anxious or feeling stressed, our pets reflect that back to us. So they become anxious and they become stressed. They're kind of like little mirrors. They really, really reflect back what we are feeling. So if your dog or your cat is experiencing anxiety, for example, social anxiety or separation anxiety, one of the first things to do that can really help is look back at yourself and think, how am I anxious socially, or how am I anxious when I'm separated from ones that I love, when I'm by myself? And really thinking, looking deep inside yourself. And often when you fix what's inside yourself, your pet will mirror back and fix themselves as well. I believe that animals are all here always to teach us a lesson. They come into our lives for a purpose, for a meaning. Sometimes these meanings are harder and more challenging. Sometimes it's just to show us love or just support. Sometimes they're trying to teach us to be patient, to be calm, to be gentle, to be compassionate. But they come to us with their specific problems at the specific time that they do to teach us something, and they are going to be there and help us through by reflecting, mirroring back what they want us to learn in our own lives and in our own selves. They're very, very intuitive. They're very caring. They're kind of here to help us. Like, they're just so full of love, and they're loving us by having some of these issues, trying to show us what we need to look and see inside of ourselves. So that's always something to consider when our pets are having an issue or a behavior problem or something that we're kind of disliking or want to fix or improve, or even a health issues, kind of to always turning it back on yourself. Not saying that this is the only thing that's going to correct them. When you correct yourself, they're just magically gonna be better, but it's a start and it's definitely a large part of it. So I'll get back to kind of the tools, because I kind of got off on a tangent a bit there, but that's one huge tool, is thinking of your pet as an energetic mirror and mirroring back. Our pets are also energetic sponges. They soak up our energy and they hold on to it. So if we're angry, they kind of come close to us, or they don't even have to come close. They just feel that anger and they try and take it off of us, and they internalize it in them, and then they release the anger, and they can release it in aggression with other dogs, or they can release it in peeing on your couch, or they release it, let it out in the best way that they know how, because they don't have the same tools that we have. We can release it by exercising, or we can release it by dealing with the anger and accepting it and moving on from it, which is the healthy way. But our pets try and help us with our own emotions by taking it on themselves, but then they have to release it because it internalize. It isn't nice. It isn't a good emotion. You don't keep it inside yourself, and our animals know better. We don't know better. We keep those tough emotions inside of ourselves, and that's when it comes out in diseases or health issues or mental issues, and our animals, they don't know we're gonna release it, but they release it in ways that don't always make us happy, that we don't always agree with, like aggression or behavioral issues. So yeah, changing our perspectives, changing our energy, changing our own behaviors will often help our animals change and improve. So I kind of went a really long tangent on that, and it's kind of a really abstract concept. It's hard to explain, so please let me know if you have any questions or want me to explain it further. Just think of it all as energy. Everything's energy. The energy you're putting out, and our animals, just think of them as little energetic sponges, and they're soaking everything we're putting out. And it's not just us, it's everyone in the household, people they've come in contact with before. And our kids are like that, our friends are like that, our family's like that. Everyone's kind of like that, but animals are just more, and it's more noticeable, and it really affects us more because they try and help us. So if this at all sounds interesting to you, or if you are interested in working with me, and I'd give kind of a detailed plan and like an action plan like tailored for you and your pet, and then I'll be there to support you and work with you to help you and your pet, or just to do distance Reiki on your pet to help heal some of those chakras, and then kind of give you some tips or things that you can do with your pet to encourage healing, and can be tailored towards specific behaviors, or just kind of an overall just kind of health checkup thing. I do tons of stuff like that. I want to do a lot more kind of informative things in this group that can help you and your pet, just like a non-paid option just to help you. So if you have anything specific that you would like to know more about how to deal, like say for example your cat's not using the litter box correctly, or going peeing on the couch instead of the litter box, or something like that, if you would like me to talk more about how you can use this kind of training and look at your pet's soul when trying to help them modify their behavior or change what they're doing, or try and help them understand why they are doing this behavior, and getting to the root of the problem, and then how to solve it. If you want a little bit more information, just let me know in the comments below what you are kind of looking for. So I did a poll maybe 2 weeks ago about some different topics. This was one of the topics: how to train your pet and behavior modification while looking at your pet's soul. So this was one of the ones that I choose to do first. I will end up doing them all. I was just interested in which ones you guys wanted, and then that would help me pick which one I'm going to do first, but they all kind of got the same amount of votes. But if you want to go back and find that poll and vote on it, or add another topic or another question, or just write in the comments below this video what you kind of thought of all this, and looking at your animal this way. If you already do some of these methods, sometimes I find I say it and people are like, oh, I already kind of do that, but I know that, but I never realized I knew that, or never realized I was doing that. Yeah, just let me know. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to work with you and your pet, let me know. And I have a lot of kind of different options about how I can work with you and your pet, and we can kind of discuss what can be done or what you can do. But again, if you want any more videos on anything more specific or anything, just let me know in the comments. And now I just feel like I'm kind of rambling, so I'm going to end it there. And August is coming up, so there will be the new readings for your pets for August, so watch for that. And yeah, just hope you're enjoying the group, and I'll see you next time. Bye.